What I'm going to demonstrate is called mock turkey loaf that my mother-in-law gave me years ago, and occasionally I've made it, not often. I made it for Thanksgiving and it went over really good in California where we were for Thanksgiving. You start by chopping finely a stalk of celery and a medium onion. If you don't have a medium onion, I discovered that a large onion and half of it works really great. And they want it fine. And as you can see, there's a lot of ingredients, and I get them all ready and then I make it, and it only takes a few minutes to do that. But the chopping can take a little time, unless you use a food processor, which you could, but I find it immensely satisfying to sit there and chop. So I already browned or cooked the onion and the celery in the 2 tablespoons of oil ahead of time. While my husband was taking a nap this afternoon, I did all this. I don't know if he slept or not. He and the dog looked very comfortable in the bedroom. So, and then you put in 2 tablespoons of McKay's chicken seasoning, and I do not know of anything that takes its place. There may be something at the co-op. I don't know.
I don't know. I make my own.
Then we need your recipe.
Okay. It really is good.
So, that would be nice. I could control the salt.
Right, you can.
Because of that, I make sure I measure this exactly, because I don't like a lot of salt in things. I don't like the taste of salt, personally. So, and you mix it up as you go along. Each thing you stick in here, you start mixing. And the next thing is 3 eggs well beaten, and I took my frustrations out on them, but I didn't have any, but anyway. And mixed it. And then rolled oats, and I used the quick oats for this because I figured I didn't really want the texture of the old-fashioned for this. A lot of things I like that chewy, you know, in the, but not in this one. So you just go by what you think is going to be, how the texture is going to turn out. And I use pecans. I don't know why, except that I don't like walnuts. I have never liked walnuts. So I use pecans. They're a little milder, so that's what I use. And actually there's some people in our church that are allergic to walnuts, but not to pecans. And it's nice to be able to accommodate other people. And then you put in 2 cups of soy meat. Now, I chopped up this, I decided to get one this time that is easy to get locally. This is the Morning Star Farms chicken strips. It's in the freezer section and the entrees in the grocery stores. And it actually looks pretty much like a bunch of cut chicken. And so I cut it up into small dice to put in here. You could make the tofu into chicken flavor, and it would probably be very good. I've used that in other recipes and liked it really well. I don't have a problem liking vegetarian foods because I did not even get to taste meat till I was 13. I'd always eaten vegetarian, and actually I would just soon stay vegetarian, and I don't need any of the other stuff. I think you left some stuff off of this recipe. They don't have in the cup of cottage cheese.
How much cheese?
1 cup. 1 cup. And half a cup of sour cream. And because I don't like a lot of fat in things, I use the low fat or the non-fat. It was non-fat cottage cheese, but I couldn't find a non-fat small container of half a cup. And then the amazing, surprising ingredient here is asparagus juice off a can of canned asparagus, and it makes the turkey taste, and it really does. If you want to know what to do with those, I'm going to make soup out of the asparagus. But if you got the spears, you could probably use them in a salad. And you just mix it all together. And that is half a cup of asparagus juice. I know it sounds strange, doesn't it? Then you put it in a loaf pan or in a casserole dish and bake it for about an hour. And if you really want to be fancy, you'll put it on the thing and decorate it somehow, because they say in the presentation is 90% of making food look good. And I decided if I use it for Christmas, I thought I'd put the dressing all around it on the platter. But this one's going, actually, it's not going into a loaf pan. We'll be having this Sabbath at church, so if you like it, come and join us. I'm going to put it in a casserole dish. Somebody took it. I only had one loaf pan, and I put that one in the loaf pan. I decided if I'm demonstrating something, I really should put it in what it says. So we'll see how this goes. And this is my favorite casserole dish, by the way. So there it is. You're supposed to slice it thinly and serve it over the top of the dressing and some gravy. I don't know, I'm not a gravy person very often.
This is Hyloupse. I understand that my grandparents were German from the group that came from, went over to Russia with Catherine the Great. And anyway, they say this is not exactly German Hyloupse, I think it's more Russian. How many of you have made pigs with a blanket at home? So this is nothing new to anybody? Okay.
New ingredients.
Well, this is a vegetarian style that you may enjoy. To begin with, I have to core out the cabbage and get it going. And I cheated and I have the rice already cooked. I usually have the rice cooking, then I do the cabbage. I start pouring the cabbage. And this is what Taylor was going to do for me tonight, but he didn't come. He had another responsibility he had to tend to. I'll set it down in water.
Can you use
brown rice rather than the white rice with this?
I prefer the white rice because the white, you want it sticking together, to stick together in the cabbage. You can use brown rice, which some of you may want to do, but it will not hold together good. It'll break apart. They also use, I'm using the vegetarian gluten-based burger. While the cabbage is wilting,
Diane, we find that since Sam eats so much rice, you wonder why he does, but he does. And we cook brown rice in the pressure cooker, and it makes it, it sticks together.
it sticks together better.
Uh-huh.
I've sauteed the onion and the garlic together, and I'll put it in here in the oil with the burger to brown. I have to smash up the burger into smaller pieces.
I had a question.
Yes.
What's the sodium content on the burger mix?
Sodium is 250 milligrams. You can use frozen crumbles with this. I make this with crumbles quite a bit, and you can get crumbles from your freezer department in the store. I use basil and fresh parsley for seasoning. Now my sister has called the other day and said that her husband was hungry for Hyloupse and she didn't want to go through didn't have time to go through putting in the leaves, the cabbage leaves. So when she had her burger, at this point, when she put the cooked rice in, and she combined it, then she grated, or she sliced the cabbage real fine, put the tomato and cooked the tomato soup in it, and it really made a nice entree, a one dish. Mix the rice and the burger together.
Diane, a
Yes.
question. Did you add more salt to that?
No.
Okay. So then with the sodium content that's in the 2 cans, when you mix everything else together, your sodium content is going to be very low. If you take it straight from the can, yeah, you're in trouble.
Yes. And that you'll have to judge differently. You'll need to judge it differently when you use crumbles too, because the sodium content may be less than in the burger.
Crumbles is the same, is made by the same company that I got chicken from.
The Morning Star. Mhm. When my mother and grandmother made this dish, they never steamed the cabbage first. They always put it in the raw cabbage. And my mother used to really sometimes kind of, well, she used to get pretty aggravated at times with the cabbage leaves. I found that when you make your, steam them a little bit, they become limp. They're much easier to work with.
Diane,
Yes.
the crumbles are dry, and the veggie burger has more of a moist.
You would need to add water.
Okay.
A little, you would just have, make it more moist. Add a little more water to it. You want it to stick in there.
You can also, Sandy, use the smart ground. That is more moist than the crumbles.
Ground?
Smart ground. I think it's, I'm not sure who puts that out. I think it's Follow Your Heart or something.
That would be at
You can get it at Safeway as well.
Okay.
The smart ground, but it has a more moisture content.
Is that in the freezer section?
No, it's usually over in the produce section where they have a lot of the natural items.
After I take a few of these off, I stick it back in and let it, and let it wilt down. And the rest is just easy. You know, you all know about this part, don't you? Those of you who have made it before. Just pull it in and roll it. I didn't bring my wax paper. I usually lay wax paper down on trays, cookie trays, and I'll fill up my tray and I'll set them out in the freezer. In a few hours, they'll be frozen individually. I'll go out and pick them up, I'll bring them in, put them in plastic bags, Ziploc bags. I make a large amount like this. Then I can make 5, 10, 20, however many there are. They're ready to put in your pan and I use tomato soup. And per can, 1 can of tomato soup to a half can of water is the proportion that I use. When I bring them to church, I always bring my wash scissors, and I cut the Hyloupse at least in half. By the way, this is just trivia. Do you ever wonder what side of the plate, when you set a nice dinner, do you ever wonder what side to put the drink and the bread plate on? An easy way to remember, hold up your index finger, turn your thumb in, and face. This will always be, that makes a D, doesn't it? That'll be drink. You do it with this finger, That'll be B, bread.